Okay, and we are officially going to start here. So just to reintroduce myself, I know I've met many of you through Summer Bridge, but my name is Laura Fritz, and I'll be serving as your Student Success Advocate, which is your first year advisor. So I'll be working with you all through the entire first year. Hopefully at some point we'll be in person and we'll get to really know each other a little bit better. But for now, I'll be supporting you through this virtual space. And so we'll be meeting weekly in these live sessions. If you'd like, they're optional. And we'll also have some time to work together one-on-one. So as you'll see in this week's module, each of you will set up an appointment called a Labs Touch Point with me. And I'll talk about more details on that shortly. But that'll be our time to really talk and get to know each other and what your goals are and how I can best support you in achieving those goals throughout your first year in your time at Gutman. So that's the extent of the work that we'll do together. The touch point is a little different than these live sessions. As you see, the live session involves more students. It's more of a group conversation. And I'll be using this time to go over the modules specifically for each week. There are 2 live sessions. So currently both those sessions are the same. So yesterday afternoon, I held a session with another subset of students within our house who were able to make that time. Tuesday at 3, if that works better for you, you're welcome to come then, or if this time is better, the sessions will be the same. So I'll be going over the same information. You don't have to worry about attending both. If I do provide additional information or different information, I'll let you know ahead of time. That way you're welcome to join both each week if you'd like. But for now, I'd say probably just choose one to attend. And then that's, again, different than our touch point. So we'll each have those individual meetings together, okay? So the purpose of today, what I'd like to do is to spend some time going over the actual Blackboard shell and what that looks like for labs. And then I'll talk through the week 1 assignment, which I think will also answer some general questions that I've been getting a lot this week about schedules and how things look in CUNY first and email and other areas. So if you have questions as we go through it, please don't hesitate to speak up or to use the chat. I do see some questions here, more general questions, and I think we'll get to those as we go, but if not, I'll circle back and answer those towards the end. And if you have questions, again, you can feel free to put them in the chat, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is share my screen, and I'm gonna pull up the Blackboard shell. So this should look familiar to you. This is our advising the first year seminar 101. And something to note is that each of your course shells will look a little different. If you were able to join us on Monday, the professors and myself talked through each of our different shells, and we actually recorded that session. So if you weren't able to attend, you can watch that, and I'll show you where to find it. But it's helpful if you can, especially this first week, look around Blackboard. You should have 5 or 6 courses overall. And as you go into each course, the layout might look a little different. And so, you know, click on everything, look in every folder, see what you can find so that you're not lost. I know a lot of students have asked, like, where can I find my assignments? And it might look a little different for each. And so it's important that you take that time to look around. So in this advising shell, it's pretty simple. What you'll see here on the panel on the side is the table of contents and all the content areas. In the middle, you'll see some announcements and then just some general reminder of tasks. And so the first announcements that you'll see here when you click in, this welcome announcement is what I sent via email on Friday. And so it gives an overview of the course and how everything will be structured, when you can expect to get information and emails from me, how the course will be graded, information about the touch points in the live sessions, our final project, and then just additional support. As you move down, you'll see my contact information. This is a photo of me in case you forget. And you'll see my email address, my Teams login, my text number, and some additional information about my office hours. Here you'll find the link to the group session, which you're in today. So I'm sure you saw this. The link will never change. So you can always access our live sessions with this in my personal Zoom room. Again, we'll have sessions Tuesday at 3 or Wednesday at 11:30, and you're welcome to join one. No need to join both at this time. It'll be the same information. As you scroll down, you'll see information about just general technology support. So the first section here is regarding tools if you need a laptop or if you need any sort of assistive technology or accommodations, you can access that through our accessibility services. So if in the past you've received any sort of accommodations, whether it was classroom or testing accommodations, you may want to reach out to the Office of Accessibility to get connected with them. You can do that via email or phone. And then finally, some information about the Office 365. You'll find a lot of your classes this semester, not just the first year seminar labs, but statistics and others will require that you use some Office tools. So that might be like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. If you don't have access to that on your own, or maybe you have a Mac computer, you actually can access all of those tools for free. And so you'll want to reach out to the help desk to get support in getting those onto your computer. So you have all those tools available to you. Before I leave the announcements, I just want to check if there's any questions. So it looks like, Jonathan, you're not able to hear anything. You might need to log out and log back in. I know some students had issues with that yesterday, and then keep us posted. Any other questions about the announcements? All right, so I'm gonna go back to the main homepage, and something I wanted to point out on the taskbar is this is actually a link here. It says review the House 3 Week 1 planner and the time management tips. So when you click in here, this has the link to that Google Doc, which I referenced earlier, which will give you the kind of layout of all of the assignments and deadlines for each of your courses. And then there is a video, which is our time management workshop from Monday. So if you weren't able to join us, this is a great resource. It's
I can do this.
3 minutes, and you'll be able to watch that and get some information about like how to structure your time, how the Blackboard course shells will be divided up. And so I would encourage you, if you weren't able to attend, to watch that. The other things that you'll find in the task is just an overview of, reminders to complete lesson 1, remember to schedule your touch point. And so over on the side here, the most important thing in any course is the syllabus. And so you'll find here for the labs course, there's 2 documents when you click into this section. You can download the syllabus in a doc file, Microsoft Word, or through PDF if that's easier for you. So you can use this as a guide for our course. And then under lessons, you'll see the week 1. And this is where everyone should begin with labs. You'll find an overview. When you click in, you'll see, very similar to Summer Bridge, that there's a table of contents of what is in this lesson. So typically with labs, there's 2 things that you'll do each week. One is just a lesson overview. So for this week, it's really about getting to know the syllabus. You'll have a video here where you can watch me speak through the syllabus and highlight some really important parts of the course. And this video is about maybe 9 minutes long. So definitely watch that to get important information about the syllabus. And then the second thing you'll do is an activity. And for labs, every activity is going to be a worksheet. So I'll spend some time later in our session talking through this specific worksheet, the Navigating Tools for Advisement. But what you'll find on the assignment page is always the due date. Typically, you'll have about a week to complete the assignment, some general information about why we're doing the activity, and then the worksheet itself. So when you click here, you'll be able to download the worksheet, complete it. You will typically always find an example worksheet if you need some support and you're not sure what to do. And then as you scroll down, you'll see just some general reminders of how to complete an assignment. And the key thing is that when you complete your worksheet, you want to actually submit the worksheet. So it's going to be very similar to what we did in Summer Bridge when you completed your SWOT analysis and you filled out the worksheet, and then you're going to save it and browse your files and attach the worksheet. So there's really no reason to do a text submission or write a submission unless you just have something you want to share along with the worksheet. But the key thing is to actually attach your file. And then you'll go down and you'll submit. And then I'll receive your worksheet, can review it, give you feedback, and post your grade for the assignment. And that's what we'll do every week. The first year seminar course is, it is a required course for all first year students, but it shouldn't be too heavy of a lift. I would say you probably want to budget maybe an hour or maybe an hour and a half, depending on the week, for the entire week. So you know, some of your classes may take you 3 or 4 hours to complete the work. This should really only take you about an hour to get done. And you'll see that these weeks open up week by week. So I'll post the next week, for instance, on this Friday, and then you can begin doing that on Saturday, and you'll have a full week to complete. So don't forget, this week's assignment is due by Friday, September 18th at midnight. The other things you'll see in the course lesson is just some general reminders. So typically, I'll post up some reminders for this class. So for instance, the first assignment and the worksheet, when it's due, when you should schedule your touch point by, and when you should actually complete your touch point, and there's plenty of time to complete that. And then underneath, you'll find some important dates. These are typically college-wide dates that you should be aware of. So it might have to do with financial aid or your enrollment. It could also later on have to do with registration for courses. So these are items that you can find on the academic calendar, and you can access that through this link as well. And it's important to check the academic calendar often, especially because dates may change. And so you want to be aware of when we have holidays or when you're not expected to, you know, do work or have some time off, like Thanksgiving or the winter breaks. So you can find all of that information on the academic calendar. And then the last piece in every lesson is a link to the discussion board. Unlike your other courses, you will not have to complete a discussion board post every week. But this is really here for you if you have questions or thoughts about the assignment and you want to get in touch with me. If you're not able to join the live sessions and ask your questions, you can do that on the discussion board. So this is the forum for lesson 1. You can also find discussion boards on the side panel here. This week, each of you will post up in your student corner. This is really a space for you to get to know each other. I'll be in and out of that space if there are questions, but it's really just for you. So this week, you'll introduce yourselves to each other. And then for lesson 1, if you have any questions, you can post those there. And then again, you'll have that opportunity for each of the 12 lessons. The other things you'll notice, there's some working groups if you want to connect with students in our class who share the same major. So later on the semester, as you start to work on some major exploration in your final project, it will be an individual project, but you can always speak with each other and form groups to assist with the work. You'll also find a link here where you'll see the grades for the course. It details all of the assignments, when they're due, and then you'll be able to see the actual grade that you received. And in addition, things like the touch point and the final project beyond just the weekly assignments. If you need Blackboard help, you'll also see that in the table of contents as well. So this is kind of the structure of our FYS 101 course. Again, every course will look a little different in how it's set up. So you want to explore here, but also explore your other classes. So are there any questions about the module or how the course is set up and the important information? And again, you can put your questions in the chat or you can speak them out. Okay. I will answer, Jacqueline had a question about missing any assignments and how that will affect your grade. So for labs specifically, each assignment will be a percentage of your grade. So if you miss assignments, you would deduct, the percentage of that. So for instance, if you miss one of the worksheets for a week, your grade will go down by 5%. If you miss another one, it'll be another 5%. If you miss the final project, that's 40 points. So you're actually at most would get a 60%. And the touch point is 10% of your grade. Now, this is different from other classes, so you want to make sure to check the syllabus and how each assignment is weighed into the final grade. So again, it will be a little bit different. There's a question about deadlines to send in mail. I'm not sure I understand your question. Jesse, do you want to elaborate? I will say generally deadlines will be found on the syllabus. So for, again, our class here, you'll see the syllabus with all the details of deadlines, but you can also see that in the grade section. So here you'll see the assignment due dates, and that's a helpful way. You might see that also in your other classes. Okay. Any other general questions about the module? Okay. So what I'd like to do now is to focus on this week's lesson, which is navigating the tools for advisement, the worksheet. And Junius, regarding your question about scheduling touch points, I'll actually go over that because it is one of the to-dos. So hang tight, I'll get there. And if you still have questions at the end, you can let me know. So I'm actually going to switch over. So again, this week you'll find the assignment and the worksheet in the Navigating Tools for Advisement. So you'll want to download that worksheet. I'm going to pull up an example so you can see, and we'll walk through it together. All right, so you should see the example. This is available in the module. So if you have questions, you can go to this. What you're gonna do with this is you're gonna follow each step to get acquainted with some of the tools. And we'll be using a lot of tools, online platforms during labs and also for advisement. So it's good to start getting comfortable with these. And some of them you probably will remember from summer bridge or orientation, and there are some that may be brand new. So I want you to start getting comfortable. So with this, there's a few areas of the worksheet that you'll complete as far as filling in the worksheet so that you can submit it. But some of it may not have a fillable section, and that's fine. It's more about just making sure that you complete the task. So the first tool that you'll get acquainted with, and this is probably the one tool you're going to use the most, especially this semester, is Blackboard. And so like I said earlier, you want to get acquainted, go into every single shell so you can start learning what's there for each of your courses. What I'd like for you to do for labs this week is just to get to know each other a little bit better. So as I mentioned, the task here is that you'll go onto the discussion board under the student corner and you'll type in your information. So again, I'll go through what this will look like. So if you go into your Blackboard shell, under discussion boards, you'll go to the student corner. You'll probably see a lot of students have already posted their information. You'll create a thread. You'll type your name as the subject. And then under the text, you'll just introduce yourself. Say your name, say your major, say something you're excited about, and use this as an opportunity to start some dialogue between you all. And you can comment on each other. You can also post up other threads if there's things that you want to discuss with each other. And this is really your space. I see, Eileen, you have a question. You raised your hand. Do you want to type your question in the chat, or do you want to speak your question? Eileen. All right, we'll move on. Eileen, if you have your question, you can just type it in the chat. Okay, so that's tool number one. I'm gonna continue on. So the second tool that hopefully you've gotten to know a little bit is CUNY First. Oh, Eileen, okay, so your question, how many sentences do you need to have? 1 or 2. It's nothing major. All I want you to do is get acquainted with the discussion board, say your name, what you're majoring in, and what you're excited about. So you can do that in 1 or 2 or 3 sentences. Nothing long. So don't overthink it. Just introduce yourself. Okay. All right. So back to CUNY First here. So CUNY First is where you're going to find a lot of information about your student life. With this, I just, again, kind of want you to explore. Unfortunately, because I'm not a student, I can't show you exactly the same view in CUNY First that you will see, but what I've done is I've created some screen grabs. So I do have some images that I'll show you, and I can walk you through some key areas. So I'm going to pull that up now, and hopefully this will start to answer some of the questions that I've gotten this week about CUNY First and the courses and what your all schedules look like. So I'm going to go ahead and start this mini presentation here. Okay. All right. So this is what you should see on your student center when you log into CUNY First. And there's a few key areas that I want to point out. The first section, which is probably the one you'll use the most heavily, is the academic section. This is where you'll see your class schedule. It's a little funky this semester, obviously, because we're all online, so you're not going to see any days or times. Everything is done kind of on your own time through Blackboard, as you hopefully have gotten to see so far and during summer bridge. In the center section, you'll also see your finances. So if you have a bill, for instance, you might see that here or you might not. You can view your financial aid. If you have questions about anything in this area, you would probably want to ask the hub. That's not really my area of expertise. So if you have questions about a bill or financial aid, reach out to the hub. And then you'll also see your personal information. So this is kind of cut off here because I didn't want to expose somebody's personal information, but this is where you'll see you know, your name, your address, the email address on file. So you want to make sure that this is the most up to date. On the right side, you'll see some holds and to-dos. These are typically things that you might need to take action on. So if you see any items that, like something like this where it says verification, typically that would have to do with financial aid. So you want to reach out to their office. If you have any missing items, like missing a meningitis form, which is part of the admissions process, you want to make sure that you're following up on this. So I encourage you to go in, take a look around. One thing is that you might find, if you applied to some other CUNY schools, that the information here is not all Gutman specific. So if you go into the details and you see something from BMCC or Hostos or wherever you might have applied, you can disregard that. You really only want to focus on items that are specific to Gutman, since you're now a Gutman student. So you don't need to worry if there's you know, things missing from other schools because you chose not to go there. Okay. The other thing I wanted to point out is kind of how classes align. So I've gotten a lot of questions about this week, which is, you know, looking in Blackboard and trying to figure out, you know, how the courses go with the courses in CUNY First. And so you may see when you look for specific codes, like on your list of courses in Blackboard, for instance, the first one may be LASC 101, which is your city seminar course, and you'll see that on your schedule. This is the course that has the 2 professors, Professor Dunn and Professor Lim, and so that's why you see it twice in CUNY First, but pretty much every other one you'll see only once. So you'll have, you know, your English 103, which corresponds here, your ethnographies of work, SOSC 111 here. You'll see the FYS 101, which is the course that we're in now, and then you'll see your statistics course. So you just want to double check and kind of make sure that those are all accounted for. And then some of you might see some additional courses here, for instance, like the summer bridge, which is not available anymore because it's concluded. You might see this course, Arts in New York City, which if you look is actually a fall term 2 class. So that's not open yet. And we'll talk a little bit more about those details. So you just want to make sure that at least the bolded blue link classes correspond with what you have here. And for most of you, it'll be 5 or 6 classes that you'll be enrolled in, okay? Now, to get more detail about those classes, you want to click on the button that says My Class Schedule, okay? And when you do that, it's going to pull up more details about each of the class. It should auto-populate to the list view because we don't have any dates and times. There likely won't be a weekly calendar view because there's nothing happening at scheduled times during the week that are required. You will have these optional sections, but you don't have to attend. But when you look at the list view, you'll see each of your courses listed here. You'll see more details about the units or the credits, the professor who's teaching it, the dates for the semester. So anything September to December is our fall 1. But as I mentioned earlier, you do have some classes already on your schedule for fall 2, which is our January, February term. And yesterday a student asked about if you'll only take 1 class in fall 2, and actually you have the option to take 2 classes, and we'll work together to select a course that goes along with your major. You'll be able to have some choice on what class that is, but we'll do that later in the semester once we've done some major exploration and you've gotten to know some of the courses that you need. So take some time to look at these details. This is actually what you'll look at when you're filling out the portion of the worksheet. So if I go back to the worksheet here for the CUNY First, as you scroll down, it's asking you to use the space below to list out the courses for fall 1 and fall 2. So under fall 1, you'll look for those courses with the dates September to December. For fall 2, you'll put the January, February, and you probably want to list the title of the course as well as the subject and the number. Okay, and this becomes important to know these subjects and numbers as you move forward later on when we do registration. But for now, I'm just asking you to fill this out so you can get a sense of what those courses are, and we'll discuss those more in our individual meetings. So that's really what you'll focus on in CUNY First, is just getting comfortable with your schedule. I know a lot of students have asked, you know, these courses don't really go with my major, but that is pretty standard with first-year courses when you enter college. A lot of it is just building that foundation. Across CUNY, every student has to take an English composition course and a math course, and then some other courses in different disciplines like sociology or liberal arts. And so even though these courses may not directly align with your major right now, they are, 1, required for your degree, and 2, will help you build the skills you need to go on to those higher level 200 level courses, which is most of your major. Okay. Are there any questions about this tool and CUNY First before I move on? All right, so we can come back if needed. The next tool you should be hopefully getting more familiar with, which is the Gutman email. And it's been a little wonky. I know some students are still having trouble with the Gutman email. Some students are still getting emails to their personal email. So there's a few things that I want you to pay attention to in trying to get as much of the communication from Gutman going to your Gutman email. It's really important to make sure that you're not missing information, because even if you are getting some notifications to your personal, you're likely also getting notifications to Gutman, so you want to make sure that you're checking it daily. So I want to show you with some of those screenshots again, what you might want to do in regards to your email. All of you should know that you can access your email through My Gutman. You'll click on the Office 365, that'll open up your Gutman email. If you're having any trouble accessing this, please contact the help desk as soon as possible so they can work with you to either reset your password or get you set up. However, there's 2 things that I also would want to encourage you to do. One is in CUNY First, making sure that the CUNY First email address is set up as your Gutman email for your primary. And this will make sure that any communications through CUNY First go to your Gutman email. So when you're on that main page under the personal information, you can click Other Personal, click on Email Addresses, and it will pop up a screen where you might see a couple different emails listed there. Typically, it pulls whatever email address was on your application, but your Gutman email should also be listed, and I encourage you to check that off as your preferred email. And again, that's to make sure all the communications are funneled from CUNY First to your Gutman email. And then the second thing I would encourage you to do is in Blackboard. These systems don't necessarily communicate with each other, so you want to make sure that if you're getting emails from your professors or from me through your Blackboard course, that they're also going to your Gutman email. So there's actually a box on your main page which gives you this detailed information on how to change your email address, but you'll look on the left side for a panel that says Tools, and you'll look for Update Email. That will take you to another screen where you enter your email address and confirm it, and then you'll confirm and it will change that email address. Again, this is super important to make sure everything Gutman is going to Gutman. Also, it's important to note that you should really only be communicating to faculty, staff, and myself through your Gutman email. Part of that is because we're in this remote world, and the only way we can really verify that we're speaking with you, the student, is through your Gutman email. Anyone could create an email account with your name at Gmail, and so we have no way of knowing securely that it's you. And so some offices like financial aid or the bursar or the registrar, they might not even respond to your email if it's not coming from a Gutman email. So please make sure that you update all these spaces so that you're not missing out on anything. Okay. Any questions about the email? Okay. So if I go back to the worksheet for this week, again, this is just giving you guidance on how to update your email. There is an activity. This is only if you've not been in communication with me via email. But if you email me during summer bridge, that last assignment with your goals, you don't need to send me another email. This is only if we've not been in communication and you just want to confirm that it's working. So that's the activity under the email.
Miss,
yes, question?
I basically went to the help center, and then I also contacted the IT department to help me with my email, but they never got back to me. Like, my email hasn't been working since since summer bridge.
I see. When you reach out to them, was it through the help desk email? Did you email them?
Yeah, I emailed them and I called them.
And you called them? I would probably suggest following up on that. So typically if you email a college office and you don't hear back within anywhere between 1 and 3 days, if it's gone 3 days and you've not heard, I would suggest maybe following up with an email. It's important to know, I mean, during summer bridge, there were hundreds of students who were having challenges. So it is possible that they may have overlooked your email, or someone may have started to respond and never fully got back to you. So I would say at this point, if you've not heard back, reach out again. And if you find that you're still not hearing back, email me and we'll see what we can do. But I would say follow up with another email or another call at this point, okay? Other questions about the email? All right, so I do want to highlight, this is a new tool. So tool 4, DegreeWorks. This is something that we will start to use more later in the semester. It's an amazing tool because it actually allows you to track your academic progress. And this is something that I'll be using to help create an academic plan for you, which overviews all the courses that you'll need to take in order to graduate on time. And we'll be using this very heavily during our one-on-one advising meetings. But for this lesson, what I'd like for you to do is, one, just make sure that you have access to it, and also to use it as a way to verify your major. A lot of you, I've noticed on the discussion board this week, have posted, you know, I'm interested in studying this or, you know, that, but you want to make sure that that's actually what you're programmed in the system to be studying. That will typically feed from whatever you put on your application when you apply to CUNY. So I'm going to show you what that, what DegreeWorks looks like and what you should be focusing on when you get there. When you're on your CUNY first, and this is where you'll start to access DegreeWorks, over on that side panel where you saw holds and to-dos, as you scroll down, you should see a box that says advisement, and the first link is DegreeWorks Online Advisement. When you click the link, it will pop up a window that looks like this. So it may have some other schools if you applied to other CUNY schools. If that's the case, you just want to make sure that you're looking for Gutman. It may only have Gutman, and that's fine. And you'll want to click on the DegreeWorks link. That will open another window which looks similar to this, and it's a long site. So I would encourage you to look around, start to get to know it. This is what the top portion will look like, and this is really where I want you to focus this week, is just to confirm the information at the top. So you'll see your ID, your name, and this is key, the degree and the major. So if you posted, okay, I want to study information technology, but you go into your DegreeWorks and you notice that it's business administration, that means you might have to do a change of major to make sure that you're aligned. Or if you thought you were human services, but you're coded as liberal arts. If you are what you thought you are, like if you wanted to study business and you're in DegreeWorks as business, great. There's nothing that you need to do there. But if you need to change your major, you can do that on forms.gutman.cuny.edu. And this is also on the bottom of your worksheet for this week. You'll use this website. It will populate where you need to log in, and you're going to use your My Gutman login. So the same way that you would access the My Gutman portal, you'll use that to sign in. When you get to the, once you've signed in, there's an option at the top. You'll click on New Form, and then there's a section that says All Forms, and you're going to scroll through the various forms looking for the major concentration change. Once you click on it, it will actually pull up a form with auto-populating your information and the major that's in the system, and you'll scroll down and look for the new major that you want to actually have as your major. So this is where I would encourage you to go if you see it doesn't align. If it looks fine, leave it, nothing you need to do, okay? So again, when you go back to your worksheet, you will see this link listed here, okay? And so you can just click on it and it will open up and you can log in. If you have any issues completing the form, let me know. Just email me. It's something we can do in our individual meeting. And what I'd like for you to do is to also fill out this section. So I'd like to know what officially it says in DegreeWorks. So this is an area that you'll put and type in on your worksheet. Okay, and that's all you need to do for DegreeWorks for this week, is just verify your major. Okay, any questions about that? Okay. So the next part is actually getting to Junius, your question about the touch point. So you all got familiar with Starfish through Summer Bridge, and during Summer Bridge you were asked to raise your hand so you could practice that feature. You're welcome to continue raising your hand if you have questions for me or for your professors. And so with the Starfish, this week, what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and schedule your first touch point, and that's our first advising and meeting. This is where I'm going to get a chance to get to know you a little bit better. You'll get to know me. We'll talk about your goals, and we'll start to make sure that you're on track for achieving those goals. It's also a time to think about like what resources might be helpful to you, if there's any offices you want to connect with, or any ways that you want to get involved on campus. We can start having that conversation. So again, I'm not a student, so I don't have the view to show you what Starfish looks like exactly from your perspective if I log in. So what I'm going to do is go back to my screenshots and show you similar to what it might look like for you. So I'm going to move here. Okay, so you will access Starfish through my Gutman portal. Over on the side where you'll see the email and other things, you'll look for Starfish. When you log in, it should either automatically pull up the Success Center, or you may have to go to your profile on the side, the drop down, and click on My Success Network, okay? When you're there, it's gonna show you all the people you're connected with. whether it's the faculty, your financial aid counselor, or myself as your advisor. So you're going to scroll through and you're going to look for my name. And on the side, when you find me, you will look for a button that says schedule. When you click that, it's going to ask you to select what type of meeting you want to have. And this is something that's a little different than in the worksheet. Originally, I had encouraged you to select Labs Touchpoint. Unfortunately, there's a slight glitch in the system and Labs Touchpoint is not available. So what I would suggest is to select General Visit. That's fine for now. It's your first appointment. There's no major, topic that we need to discuss. If there are certain things that you want to make sure we cover, you can type that in the comments later on. But once you select General Visit, it will take you to my calendar. Typically, it will only show you 1 or 2 weeks at a time. And I will say that because I'm working with about 115 of you, my schedule is filling up very fast. So you might find that in September, there's barely any appointments, and that's okay. We have time to meet. So don't worry if you can't get one in the first week or 2, but you'll want to use the arrow buttons to click and scroll over until you find a date that is available in kind of a bolded black. That will let you know that I have appointments on that date, and then you can select any time that works for you. I try to have a balance of some morning and some afternoon. If you can't find anything that works within your time frame, or you have a more immediate need that you can't wait until October, email me and we'll see what we can do about setting up a meeting earlier. I'll see if I can rearrange anything. But for now, just the General Labs Touchpoint, feel free to schedule that later in the month or early October. Once you select the date and time, it's going to just ask you to confirm. This is the box where you can type in any other details. So if you want to type in Labs Touchpoint, or if you want to put any questions or topics that you want to discuss, you can include that there. And then you'll click confirm. And then it will pull up another screen to say that, I'm looking forward to meeting with you. Your appointment is all confirmed. If for some reason you cannot make the appointment that you schedule, please, please, please go into Starfish and cancel your appointment and reschedule for another date. It is so much better if you can cancel in Starfish because it will immediately open up that appointment to another student. If you email me, then that appointment will still stay in Starfish and then someone else won't be able to take that time. So it's important that you follow up. If you can't make it, cancel so someone else can have it. If for some reason you can't log on and it's, a couple minutes before our appointment, email me and let me know, or text me and say, I'm sorry, I can't attend our appointment for whatever reason, just so that way I'm not sitting around waiting and wondering where you might be. The other thing that you might see when you create your appointment is some options for how we will meet. And this is totally your preference. I will say, the 3 key areas would be either by phone. We can have a phone conversation. The challenge with that is if we need to share anything online, we might not be able to do any sort of screen sharing. So that makes it a little bit more challenging, but it's okay if you just want to do a phone conversation. The second way is through Microsoft Teams, and I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. The nice thing with Microsoft Teams is we can do some sharing of our screen, and we can also, save files or save our conversation if you need to go back to it. But it does require a couple more steps as far as the login process goes. And then the other option is through Zoom, similar to what we're doing right now. What will be different is that it won't be a group of us. I'll have my same Zoom room open, and if it's your appointment time, I'll let you in. Once your appointment's done, you'll leave, and then the next student will come in for their appointment. And if it's not your appointment time yet, you'll just hang out in the waiting room until it's our time. So those are the 3 options that we'll have, and you can select whichever one, okay? Junius, I hope that answered your question. If you have any other questions, feel free to type in the chat or feel free to speak up. Are there any questions about the touch point? Okay, and if you need an additional advising appointment, don't hesitate. We will of course meet our one time, but I'm happy to meet with you if you need additional support as the semester goes on. All right, so I'm gonna go back to our worksheet. We are almost through. Please keep in mind for the Starfish section that you do want to type in your date and time of when you scheduled your appointment. So that way I know it's been complete. The next section is Tool 6, which is Microsoft Teams. This, again, is that other application I had mentioned where you can use your CUNY login, not your MyGutman, but your CUNY to access this as a way for us to video chat as part of our appointment. And I'll give you a quick example of what that looks like. When you go to the Microsoft Teams site, you'll have to download it to your desktop. It should work on both Mac and PC. You want to make sure that you actually run it so it starts up. And then when you log in, this is key that you make sure you're using your CUNY login. So the same login you use when you type in to access CUNY first. It will be your first name dot last name with the 2-digit number and then at login.cuny.edu. It will likely pull up that additional screen which looks like CUNY first, and you'll have to type it again, unfortunately, and then put your password, and that's how you'll officially log in. And once you're there, you'll connect with me based off of my Microsoft Teams name, which is my first name dot last name 07, and that's in the contact information in Blackboard. Okay, so again, this is an option for you. If you decide that you want to use that, then part of this week is to make sure you can actually log in. Okay, so it gives you the link here. It reminds you how to log in, and then the activity is just to log in and check it, make sure it's working. Okay. All right, and then the very last thing, this tool hopefully is familiar to all of you. I think we've been in touch. I'm looking at your name. We've definitely been texting for sure. This is a way that we can be in contact via text for those quick questions. So if you don't want to type up a whole email, you know, typically if you have a major request or there's a major issue, you might want to type up a formal email. But if it's a quick question, you can text. Just keep in mind, and I've said this a couple times, the texting and the emails, I only check those during business hours. So similar to if you work a job, you don't necessarily have to do any work outside of those hours. It's the same for me. My office hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. So if you email or text at 5 or 6 o'clock, it's likely I won't get that to the next business day. And same on the weekends. If you text me on the weekends, I won't be able to see those till I log back in on Monday morning. So just be mindful of that. If you have a question you want answered by the end of the week, make sure to do it Friday sometime before 4:30, okay? And for this activity, you only need to text me if we've not been in touch via text. So I believe for most of you, we've been in communication, so there's no need to text again unless you have a question, but this is for students who've still not been in touch. And so you can use my Google number, which is in my contact information on the Blackboard shell, okay? So that's the end of this week's worksheet. Again, once you've completed the worksheet, you have to make sure you submit it. So I won't know that you've completed it until it's submitted. So when you go back into your Blackboard again, you'll go to week 1, you'll open up the lesson, you'll go to where the worksheet was located, the navigating tools for advisement. You'll scroll down to the bottom and you will browse your computer and add on the attachment. Then you'll click submit and I will receive your assignment. That's how I'll know that you've completed everything. And the 3 areas you'll fill out is the schedule, your major from the degree works, and then also your appointment, the day and time that we're meeting for Starfish. So those 3 areas you'll fill in and then you'll submit the assignment. Okay.
I have like
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So like, where do I go to change my major? Because I want to major in information technology, but on CUNY first, my major says human services.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll go back through that here. So again, I can't show you exactly because I don't have the access through like similar to you as a student, but just again, you'll verify where your major is in degree works. So that's through CUNY first. And then if you notice that it's different, like you said, you want to change it to IT, then you're going to go to forms.gutman.cuny.edu. You'll type that in and there will be a sign-in page that you will log in using your Gutman portal account, not your @login.cuny, but just your My Gutman sign in. You'll look for a new form, major concentration change, and the information should load with your name and your old major and all of that. All you have to do is look for the drop down that says new major, and you'll select information technology, it sounds like, and then you'll submit the form. And then usually with that change of major, I'll receive the form, I'll verify, and then it takes a couple days to process. So you might not see it change immediately in DegreeWorks, but usually by the next week, you'll see that it's been changed. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. That was really helpful because I
Okay,
like
awesome.
advisors.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen at this time. But if there are questions about other things that I do need to share screen, I'm happy to do that again. We were scheduled for about an hour, and looks like we've taken the whole hour here, which is totally fine. I will hang back if there are additional questions though. So if there's anything that I went over that was unclear, or if you have other general questions. Jacqueline, that's a great question. Where can you find this screen recording? So after today's session, I will download the video. I will probably go in and close caption just for accessibility needs. And then there will be a new section added onto Blackboard underneath where the discussion boards are. It will say group advising sessions and the recordings. And you'll see as the weeks go on, those will all be listed there. So if you're unable to make it for a week, please feel free to visit that section, and you'll be able to rewatch the videos even if you attended and you want to look back as you're doing the work. And again, just keep in mind that there'll be 2 live sessions a week, but you don't have to attend both. You're welcome to, but it's probably going to be the same information again. So if you feel like you just want to rewatch the video, that's fine. Or if you just want to attend one time, that's also fine. And if you have questions ahead of time, I can try to answer them in the video. Even if you're not here, you can just email me and I'll try to address them. Okay. Eileen, I see you posted a question about what is AAS. So this is actually something that we'll discuss in a couple weeks. Part of what we'll focus on in labs is, one, just getting to know the college experience, understanding what it means to be a Gutman student and how to be successful. The second thing that we're going to focus on this semester is exploring the majors and how they connect with majors at senior colleges, as well as future career interests. So an AAS stands for Associates of Applied Science. It's the type of degree that you would earn at Gutman, specifically if you're majoring in IT. It is the only major that we have, which is an applied science, and the other majors that you might see in DegreeWorks are AA, which is an Associate of Arts, which is more like liberal arts, so like more broad general education plus the specifics of the major. And so this is something that I'll actually be going over in detail probably in week 7 or 8 of the semester. So it's good that you're starting to think and ask these questions, but we're going to talk in depth about the different degrees and what they mean, and how they'll be useful to you as you go on. So hopefully that answers your question initially, but then we'll go into more detail in a couple weeks. Did I answer all the questions in the chat? Did I miss anything? Are there any just general questions that you have about this first week? Thoughts, concerns? All right. Well, since we're already over time, I guess we'll go ahead and conclude. If there are any other questions, you can post them in the chat. I'll probably hang out for another minute or two, but this will be the end of our official session today. Okay, so thank you all so much for coming. If this has been helpful for you, give me a thumbs up, use the little reactions, let me know, and I'll see if I can continue to tailor these experiences. If there's things that you think would be useful that we didn't go over, or things that you'd like for me to address in the future, email me and I'll see about kind of working this for what your needs are. Okay. All right, I see a few thumbs up. Thank you for that. Hopefully for the rest of you, this has been helpful. But thank you again, and I wish you the best of luck this week with the first week. And don't forget that your first assignment is due by Friday at midnight. So make sure to submit that worksheet. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too.